What's going on, everyone? So, the Philadelphia 76ers have waived Ricky Council the fourth, and I think the Lakers should take a look at him, right? I'm talking about a 6'6", athletic, young, versatile, kind of wing guard that can defend, right? Rebound, score the basketball, do a little bit of everything. You even look at last year, he averaged 7.3 points, 3 rebounds, 1.5 assists. Not a guy that has played, super heavy minutes in games and all that stuff for teams, right? He's been in the league 2 years. Both years were with Philadelphia. The most minutes he played was last year at 17.1 minutes per game. And that's because, all the injuries and stuff like that. And he, again, was like a 7-3 with 1.5 assists. So guy that has upside, athletic, 23 years old. He'll be 24 literally in a couple days, August 3rd, which is also when Luka might be signing his extension. So maybe you get Council and Luka, just saying. Council looked good in the summer league, right? He's a guy that, again, I know, let me say this, because every time I talk about somebody goes, Lakers can't sign anybody right now. I understand that. Lakers are active in trades. Lakers are trying to figure out trades, right? They're linked to all these free agency guys because people, these reporters, these insiders stuff, know that, like, hey, Lakers are active and trying to get trades done. So, again, if the Lakers like somebody enough, or can get a couple guys, they'll figure something out, whether it's a consolidation trade or they make a move or whatever. Got a lot of time. Again, a lot of time between now and training camp for deals and moves to get done. And Council could be a guy that come in, give you some youth, athleticism, and depth, give you another development guy, a 3-and-D guy potentially. 3-point shooting definitely needs some work. He's not like, insanely lights out. He did his rookie season shoot just under 38%. He was 37.5%, but on one attempt. Right? This past season with Philadelphia, though, he was abysmal. On 3 attempts, he was 26%, and that's me rounding up. He was 25.8% from 3-point range. So 3-point shooting definitely needs to be worked on, right? Can you maybe get him closer to that, 38% rather than the 26%? But again, also, you kind of look at it, it wasn't this like, it wasn't this super sample size. Now, I mean, the games he played 73 games compared to 32 his rookie season. We're talking about attempts, right? It wasn't taking 5, 6, 7 attempts, right? He was inconsistent because every time anybody came back, he was out of the rotation. So, again, he's a guy that, could potentially, I do think that there is the foundation there to really kind of develop him into a quality player. He's not a guy that I would rush to the door to go get, but I don't hate the idea of bringing in another just young, versatile, potential two-way guy. He was a 117 defensive rating last year, which isn't great. It's kind of average amongst like forwards that was like I think it was like 116 and some change. So it's kind of, in that area. Overall, like league-wide, it was like 110 last year, but that's counting like centers and all that other stuff, right? You have like Jackson Hayes was like a 107 or something like that, but we all know that he's, he's not Anthony Davis. He's not the best defensive big in basketball. It's just, again, it's a lot goes into defensive rating. Guys who are on the court, so on and so forth, right? But point is that, you have Council who is around league average defensively and 23 years old, well, I guess will be 24 years old, that you could bring in, kind of be a foundation piece, be a development guy, be somebody that you can grow and build with, that I wouldn't hate to kind of take a look at, right? Lakers, I'm fine with adding veteran guys and stuff like that. Like I've talked about like DeMar DeRozan recently and stuff. And, I get a lot of pushback from people that are like, oh, he's too old, right? Like, look, I get it. We want young guys. I've been preaching youth, athleticism, all of that. But you also want talent, right? Like, I'd love to go get a Ricky Council. He checks off a lot of the boxes as far as youth, talent, athleticism, all of that stuff. But how much is he going to help impact winning this season, right? Are we preparing for the future or are we preparing for right now, right? That's why you want to have a balance, right? Like, Ricky Council, I'm not expecting to come in and be a 40-minute-a-game guy, right? Not expecting him to be a starter or anything like that. But could he be a guy that could help you throughout an 82-game season? Sure. Is he a guy that could come in and play a role for you and knock down shots and create a little bit for himself, create a little bit for others, and be kind of that big kind of guard, average size forward, but just be another athletic defensive piece that's helping rebound, helping defend, helping be a part of the team and structure? Sure. Right? But in the same breath, you want to bring in guys, if you can, bring in guys like a DeMar DeRozan and Al Horford, or these guys, right? Like, because yes, they're older, but they're going to help you win. They're going to win games and make winning plays and do things. Right? Like, I want to prepare and set up for the future also, but I also want to win right now. So you need to kind of have that balance. Ideally, we all want, a 27-year-old that, is a top. We all want a Herb Jones, right? Like, we love a Herb Jones, but how realistic is that? What's, if we're being honest, like, what is the probability of you getting that? Probably very slim, right? Because every team in the league probably wants that same guy. Right? So you're competing with everybody, and Lakers are very limited on assets. So you need to try to find these diamonds in the rough. Right? You're hoping that a Jake LaRavia can be the guy that you need him to be. I believe he will and can be, but Lakers need to see it, right? A dude Thero, which apparently, according to Lakers, it's Thero. It's pronounced Theero. Thero, according to the Lakers. I got to get used to saying that because we've had like 5 different iterations of his name. Jovan Buha made that announcement the other day. So, but back on track, right? You're looking for a guy like Thero to come in and be that kind of defensive piece, or, a Jared Vanderbilt to elevate and do that. Like, yes, we need all that. And ideally, you make a trade to go get an Andrew Wiggins or something like that. But you're going to need to fill roster spots, right? Let's say the Lakers go and do Gabe Vincent, Rui Hachimura, and Dalton Connect for an Andrew Wiggins, right? Supposedly, Al Horford and DeAnthony Melton are headed to the Warriors as soon as they figure out the Jonathan Kuminga thing. Okay, well then that would take them off the table. You start looking around, it's like, well, who's left? And you have to fill out a roster. And you already have 1 open roster spot, you're going to free up 2 more. You have to fill up those 2. So it's like, okay, who are you going to get at that point, right? I think a Ricky Council gives you a guy. Like, yes, you could look at an Amir Coffey or something like that, but Council is 3 years younger, 4 years younger, right? So he gives you a little more kind of upside and potential in a guy that could grow and develop, right? Again, I'm not saying he's a guy that is an absolute lock and oh my goodness, maybe you're bringing him on a 2-way or something, right? Like there's options beyond like the main roster. If we got an announcement, they signed him to the G League team to kind of just keep him under the umbrella. I'd be excited for that because again, he's a guy that I do think has a lot of potential. And you've seen those glimpses. He's had games, he's had moments, he's had stretches where he's looked like, okay, there's something there. He could be a guy that might be able to be a ceiling raiser for a team at some point if really given the chance, opportunity, and growth, right? He's on a team in Philadelphia that has 10 guys that all play his role that are going to all play over him and they're trying to win and stuff, right? He kind of got more of his opportunity as the season progressed because, every time half the roster would end up being out, then he got opportunity to play, meaningful minutes and meaningful role. So, if he can kind of continue that and get that progress, then that might be something, right? Because again, he played in 73 games, he only started in 12 of them. Right? So it wasn't like they thrusted him in and he was this starter every night and starting all these. And you look at the year before, he played 32 games and only played 9 minutes per game. Right? So he hasn't gotten a ton of minutes, a ton of opportunity, a ton of growth, where I think a team like the Lakers could potentially provide that for him. So it's something to kind of look at. But let's go over the kind of stats for a Council the Fourth. So again, 73 games played, 12 games started, 17.1 minutes per game, 6.3 field goal attempts per game, shot 38.2% from the floor. And that was, again, because of the abysmal 3-point shooting. He shot 25.8% on 2.9 attempts. So can you get him back to that 37.5% like I talked about in his rookie season? Although, he took basically 3 times the amount of attempts. So is that one of those things where volume, lowers efficiency? That could be something as well. So we'll see, as whether it's with the Lakers or somebody else, how his career kind of progresses in that regard. But 2-point range. He shot 49% from 2-point range on 3.4 attempts, which was down again from the previous year at 52.5%, but on 2.5 attempts. So again, a little more attempts, a little less efficiency, but 49% from 2-point range is still really good. EFG of 44.2%, which again, down from the previous year at 53.6%. Free throw shooting. His free throw shooting actually went up on the same attempts, 2 attempts per game, 80.4%. Rebounding went up 3 rebounds compared to 1.5, so literally doubled. Makes sense. He doubled his minutes, doubled the rebounds. Same thing with his assist total. Steals were roughly the same, half a steal, half a block, and 7.3 points compared to 5.4. You look at his per 36. Now, per 36 doesn't tell you everything. Kind of gives you an idea of what he could potentially be, at some point in a starting role. He would be 15.6 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, half a block per game, which if you look at the previous year, it would have been 22, 6, 2, 1, and then a half a block per game. Again, if you can get them, why not? Love it. Again, not something I'd rush to the door to go get, but as always, this is a discussion. Pass a question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. I enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button, turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.